This September, Tea Talk 2.0 is proud to support National Suicide Awareness Month. This episode is dedicated to Matt Ford by his wife, Samantha. She says that Matt was always helping others and his community. He was also a firefighter slash EMT for a while and he loved it. If you or someone you know is struggling, reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK or text HOME to 741-741 for 24/7 support. Remember, you are not alone. Help is available. Let's break the silence, spread awareness, and support each other. Tune in, and together, let's break the stigma and make a difference. Okay, we'll see if that works a little bit better. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, now she's frozen. Hello?
Hello?
Get down, girl. Go ahead, get down. God, my dogs are going fucking crazy right now.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, I'm putting my phone on. Yeah, I'm putting my phone on silencio. Trying to get myself situated comfortably.
Get cozy, get comfy. Go crazy, go stupid.
Get party, let's loud. If you want to have party, do something crazy. The chokehold Jersey Shore had on me.
Where's the beach?
I'm a good person.
Henry, the whole last episode. Okay, are we ready for this?
I'm ready, yeah.
Okay, wait. Smile. Yay. Okay. Ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Ready. You ready?
Oh, rumble!
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tea Talk 2.0. Hey. As always, I'm your hostess with the mostest, Jessica, aka Tina. And today I have a special treat for everybody because our special guest is joining us all the way from Oregon. Give it up for Tina!
Hey y'all!
Before we get off topic, Tina's drink of choice today were some tall boys. So she's already sipping on hers. She pre-aimed. Yeah. I did not. So I'm going to give you a little ASMR. Snap, crackle, pop. And the first sip.
Magic.
Every time I try to do the first slurp, it makes me want to choke.
That's funny.
So, how's it going?
It's a going. I'm just, currently in my bedroom, if you can't tell.
So it's the
for those of you
time that you...
Huh?
I
think I cut you off, sorry.
Oh no, I think I cut you off. Oh my god. Here we go. There's a delay, and so I'm like, oh no.
We're just so excited.
Listen, I'm new to this, not true to this. Okay, this is the first time we're trying this, guys. Sheena and I are doing a Zoom call for the podcast because obviously we're not in the same state. And it's going to work out great. I believe in this episode with my whole heart.
I'm excited. But no, I was just going to say how the last time I did an episode with you was a year ago in August, I think. And it's just I actually went back and watched it the other day when you asked me to do this episode with you. I went back and watched it, and I was it's just crazy to me because in the episode I was talking about how I came to Oregon to visit, and how it just kind of got the ball rolling of just my perspective of life. And then it's a full circle moment now that I'm holy shit, I'm actually living here. I'm going back to school.
I forgot we talked about that in that episode. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We love a full circle moment. I love that.
Yes. Manifestation. Right there.
Tell the people what you're doing up there. Why you left good old AZ?
good old little Safford.
Little fire.
Yeah, so I originally, when I was like in the 5th grade, I remember my mom had like brought up to us like there was like a family friend that lived in Oregon, and the way that we was living back then was not ideal. So I was super excited about it, and I just kind of always kept it like close to my heart, if you will. When like college and stuff came around, like I wanted to come to Oregon, but I just like wasn't mentally like prepared, if you will, to like make that big of like a leave from like my family and stuff. So I ended up going to like NAU for like 2 years.
Like a small town and
Yeah, no, and like, but that's also the thing too, because like I didn't want to go to like U of A or ASU either, because like I like to visit the city, but I'm not a city girl. Like I don't want to live there, and like, so like the college, yeah, so like even like at NAU, and then like even the college that I'm going to now, like they're similar in the sense of like it's like smaller, and then like the area itself, like it's like a small town. So like where I live, there's also like a town next to it, and it kind of like reminds me of like the Safford Thatcher dynamic. But the cool thing is like Salem, which is like the capital, is like 30 minutes away. So it's not like in Safford where you have to drive like 2.5-3 hours to go to like a Costco or like the mall. And then even like the beach, like the beaches are like, I think like 45 minutes away. Like there's just so much more like closer by, like where I live and stuff. And yeah, I feel like in Safford, to each their own, but like I worked at like Freeport, I worked as a correctional officer. Like I just feel like there wasn't, at least for me and like my goals and like what I want like ultimately my life to be, when I grow up, now that I'm 28. I just feel like I just feel like it was kind of like a dead end road for me. I just didn't like see my life going anywhere in Safford. So I was like, you know what? Like I finally got to a place in my life where I'm like, okay, like I'm going to do it for me, and much less like moving somewhere by yourself, not like knowing anyone, basically starting over. Like that's a big thing. And it took a lot for me to get to that point. But once I put like my mind to it, I was just like, you know what? Like let's fucking go. And I've been here on like the 18th. It'll be 7 months. Yeah, because I came in like February. Yeah. And just like everything like that's happened with me, like finding like my place, and like I got an internship, which is good for like, when I graduate, like just everything has fallen into place for me. And so I feel like it's just like a confirmation that like, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, and that I made the right choice, like by coming here. Because I remember one point in my life where I lived in like Tucson, and this was after I left NAU the first time, and that was like a completely shit show. And I was like, that there was a sign, like, girl, you needs to go. So I told myself, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. Yes, I was like, I lost my gallbladder. Like, I lost my job. It was rough. It was rough.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like all the confirmation that like you ain't supposed to be here. So I told myself that I was gonna give it a go and try and everything like that. And like I said, like everything has just worked out even better than I like could have imagined. So I'm like, nah, girl, you good. So yeah, that's. There's some theories out there, if you will. Like some people had like a lot of things to say, and I'm just like, you know what? Like those people don't talk to me. Those people don't know me. Like they might have me on social media, which I feel like they can assume that they know what the fuck I have going on in my life. But I'm just like, I don't need your 2 cents if they ain't paying any of my bills. So
put that on a t-shirt. Put that on a t-shirt. I'll wear it on my back.
No. No, you need to start like a clothing line with like everyone's different slogans.
All the random shit my people say.
Exactly.
Okay, so I brought Sheena on to talk with me today about Heartbreaks and Hiccups. And essentially what I just want to kind of talk about is kind of like first loves, first relationships, and like where that's like gotten us in our big old age. But before we like deep dive in, I want to read a submission that someone sent in because I thought it was super funny and kind of lighthearted way to start this episode. So, you know Vonda, my girl Vonda. All right, she sent in a story, and I thought it was so funny. If anybody knows Vonda, she is fantastic, funny lady. So she sent in a story, and she said, many years ago, 39 years to be exact, I was living in Tucson, going to beauty school. Coming from Safford, all my Tucson friends seemed to enjoy things I never had experienced. When my friend Candice invited me to see the male dancers at Cowboys, I felt I was committing a sin just by going. But going I did. They had a contest, and by entering your name, you could win a date with the stripper appropriately named Shadow. Limo ride to dinner, and then back as his VIP for the night. I stood him up. I just couldn't find the courage. I mean, I was a small town girl, and he was a big, beautiful, magnificent specimen whom I had stuck several dollars into his bulging G-string. I froze, and it's funny to me now because I'm the exact opposite. Maybe that missed opportunity made me come out of my shell, and I never looked back. That is, until you fast forward 38 years. I'm invited to a new friend's birthday bash. I can't wait to go. There will be great music and dancing and a pool. So I went. I not only ran into my ex-husband and his brother, but the host, Sky, had been a male stripper with Shadow and team. I recognized Sky and soon recognized Shadow was in attendance. He remembered 38 years later, and I pat myself on the back that he does. Get it, Vonda! Get you some Vonda!
Give me that.
It kind of went with your story, full circle moment, huh?
Yeah. I will say, you know what? One thing about me in like telling stories, don't leave out any details. So I love how like descriptive like she was. You know, I'm like,
me too.
Okay.
I had like this picture in my head of what was going on, and I really appreciate that. Paint me a picture so I can see the story. I think that's funny. Kind of helps us dive into the topic because it is funny, like when you're so young and like kind of naive when you're like, I don't know, like for me, I wasn't very exposed to a lot of like I was not interested in like sex or any of that until I was much older. And so I think when I was younger, I was just kind of like really naive to a lot of things. And now that I'm older, like I'm just like, I don't care. I'll talk about it. Like, I'm a grown ass adult. You want to hear about my coochie stories? They're real fun.
I feel like it's kind of the same thing for me because like I didn't even like in high school, like I had like crushes or whatever, but like I was like, no one in high school has any story of those sorts about me because I was a good noodle. Senior year, okay. Senior year, I wilded out a little bit, but like I was not like I didn't even lose my virginity until I was 22 type shit. So like, yeah, I was pretty naive too. I was like, don't look at me, don't touch me. Like,
I did not plan on losing my virginity when it happened though, and so I don't like talking about it because I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. It's washed out.
Listen, I'm not proud of mine either. So, but it's okay. Thank God for growth. Thank God for growth.
Whoop, whoop. Well, okay, and so that kind of led me into another thing that I wanted to discuss. Okay, and also before we get into that, I think Call Boys was a good idea for this episode because now you're going to get me yapping about all the things and I'm not even going to care. I'm over here chugging it so I can get the courage, the liquid courage to tell you guys.
Why do you think I was like, well, fun fact, I actually had a DoorDash to me because I was running errands. I was like,
I'm about to send Daddy Pat down to the speedway and get me another one.
No, for real.
I'm done with this already.
I was like running errands, and then by the time I got home, and then I still had to get ready and like figure out my whole situation. So I was like, I'm gonna just DoorDash. But yeah, as soon as they got here, I was like, let me start. I'm a little camera shy. I say as even though I haven't like started making like more TikToks and stuff, but
I would say you're very more active on your TikTok now, and we love to see it.
I just like, I don't know if it's because of like moving away and I'm kind of in an area where like nobody knows me, or I guess I don't have like that fear of like what other people are thinking. Yeah, like I feel like more in like the area, it's like, oh, you walk around Walmart and someone's like, her TikToks are so cringe. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, nobody knows me. Nobody.
But you're watching them, aren't you? You're
exactly.
watching them. Thank you for the views.
Yeah, but and I even like I've had some people like even tell me that there's like a shift, if you will, because like I'm a sad. I like to say savage sad girl because like I'm sensitive and I've like, you know, I spent a lot of time being like hella in my feels and like sad and all that stuff. But now I'm like I like it makes me think of the Kevin Gates audio where he's like, when you change your perspective, that's when blessings start. Like, and I'm like, yeah, like that's what I had to do. I'm like, that's what I had to do. Like now I just feel like I'm just more like at peace with stuff. And I'm like, I am 10 times funnier these days. Like I'm just like in a different place mentally. And so like my TikToks come across the same way too. Like I kind of like still like things that I've been through and stuff like that. I just do it like more in like a joking way because now I can like, I'm at peace with it and I make light of the situation. And yeah, like I just don't like even some of my old TikToks that were like, I was like, ugh, like I gave myself the ick because I'm like, I just don't like, I don't resonate with who I was in that moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I still want to be like positive and uplifting because like that's just life. We all have our moments. But now I just like want to focus more on like my personal growth rather than making it about the people or like the situation like at hand. So yeah, I'm like, and then plus I live by myself. You know, I have like 2 good friends that like I hang out with here and there. So like honestly, like being here now and then especially because it's the summer, so I don't have stuff going on. Like making TikToks is just kind of what I do to like pass the time, and like it just like I like it, yeah. And I'm not like, you know, like kudos to each their own. Whoever wants to like, you know, everyone starts somewhere. Some people go big. Some people just do it as like a side thing. Like, but me personally, I'm like, it's fun. I like to do it to pass the time.
That's what I always say, like, about the podcast. I'm just like, I'm not trying to, like, make a career off doing this. This is just for shits and gigs, guys. Like, this is my new hobby. Hope you long it lasts. If we can make it past 6 episodes, we're doing good.
I love that fruit, though.
In the work. Okay, so back to our topic.
Back to life.
So we were talking about not being sucias in high school. Good for us. And that kind of just like reminded me of like my very first like real serious relationship. I was 15 and I dated this guy, and his family and my family like were very, very close. And so like my parents knew his parents, like they lived where I talked shit to my grandparents, and yeah, so we knew their family and stuff. So my parents were very like, yay, go ahead and date him, where before they were like, now you're a slut. Anyway. so yeah, I liked that relationship though, and I think it was a really good first relationship for me, especially at that age, because there was no kind of like feeling of like pressure or like to do anything that I didn't want to do. It was more just like us hanging out and like like watching movies and just like, I don't know, it was just like really simple and just really like nice and no pressure, which I really, really liked because at that time, like I was, like I said, I never thought about like losing my virginity and like sex and none of that. Like I wasn't trying to be a mom in high school or anything like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
Like I understood that the possibility was there, but not for me because that's just not like where my head was. Because I did so much in high school. I did sports, I did student council, I did just like everything. So that was like definitely last on my list. So that relationship was so good for me because I just kind of like, I don't know, he was a good person, but at the same time too, like I ended up breaking it off because I think we dated for like a little over 6 months, but I ended up breaking it off just because I was so young and in high school, and there was still, he was already out of high school. He had just graduated. And so there were so many things that like I still wanted to do as a high schooler, and I didn't want to be tied down that young because I don't know, I just, with the age difference a little bit, it was just a little bit different. I don't know if I would have felt the same way about being tied down with someone that was still in school with me or like the same age. But I think just like the age gap made me not want to be tied down anyway. You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense.
But then I dated some real jackasses afterwards, so that's good.
Listen, I have only had one relationship, like legit, and the rest were like situationships. So I'm just like, I do not judge clearly because my taste in men has been terrible. But now that I'm more self-aware and I'm, I messed around, got some self-respect and boundaries. Yeah, I'm like, thank God for growth because, yeah, I literally, my first relationship wasn't until I was 25. So, but I also just feel like in high school, like, I remember like I liked this guy and he peaked in high school is all I'm gonna say. I'm like, nowadays I'm just like, yeah, anyone who ever like either played in my face or like didn't want to take me seriously, they're not necessarily doing that great in life is all I'm gonna say. That's it.
And that's karma working her magic, baby.
Period. She got my back. But yeah, so like I remember like I like this guy, whatever, and like he knew about it, but he was the type that like I just feel like whenever he wanted, it was almost like an ego thing. Like whenever he like wanted my attention, then he would give me the time of day, but otherwise, like whatever. But I do remember too, like I think mostly because like I've just always been like gordita like my whole life, and I was like, I think just like insecure because I just felt like nobody like wanted to like be with me or like be seen with me, and I just like didn't have like the confidence to like try and put myself out there. I mean, I talked to like some guys, but like it just never went anywhere, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then just like the life that like I was living, like I didn't necessarily like have it in like me to be like, oh yeah, I have time for a relationship. Like I had stuff going on like in my personal life at home, and then like I started working when I was like 16. So I just like, I don't know, I just never really, relationships just weren't it for me. And then with the first actual like situationship it turned into that with like the guy that like I lost my virginity to, and that went on for like a year. But like it was more based on the fact, like I think the only reason why it happened in the first place is because like I knew him personally, so I was just like, okay, like I felt like I could trust him, and like I was like, oh, like he wouldn't do that, but he in fact did that. And it was just very,
Wait, first of all, is he a man? There you go. There's your answer.
Yeah, so I just, it was just like, it was one of those things where like okay, so like I had literally just moved from Tucson after going through like dropping out of school, and my younger brother came and lived with me, and like my life was in the fucking trenches. And so I moved back to Safford, and like he had reached out and stuff. And I was like, again, I was 22. So I was like, you know what? Like, I trust this guy enough to like be intimate with him because like he's known me my whole life. Like, he's not going to make me feel awkward about it, whatever. And then I don't know if he was just like trying to be nice about it, maybe because like he knew me, I don't know. But he was just like, yeah, because he was like going through like school, and he was just like, I'm not really looking for a relationship right now, but we can like see where it goes, And I was like, I just moved here. I'm like 22. I haven't done anything. Like, I was more excited for like the experience of it, if you will. Because I was like, for me, like, I mean, I don't, no shade or anything like that, but I'm like, there was a point in time where I did go through like a little phase where I was just like going out and doing whatever. And I feel like that builds character. Like, I feel like
For sure.
But at that point in time, like, I was brand new to it. Like, didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, at first it was fun and I liked it. And then something happened and I was like, I noticed like I caught feelings, and I was like, I don't think I can like do this because, like I care about you, and like I just don't want to see you like go down this path. And then I was fine. Like, I left it alone, and then he like reached out, and it just like the cycle like repeated. It was like very toxic to where like I was getting blocked, unblocked like every other month, but I was still like staying loyal to this person. Like, instead of going out and like expanding my horizons, I was just like, no. That's why I'm like, no one can ever question my loyalty because I stayed consistent. And so, yeah, so that happened. And then like, yeah, that was like my first situationship, and that kind of like, I guess, set the tone for like how I moved forward after that. Cause then like, what ended up happening? Oh, there was like a, oh man, come on, let me take another little.
Yeah, take a little sippy sip. Get that liquid courage, girl. Get that liquid courage.
Yeah, like I said, it had gone on for like a year, and then there was like this one night, and like, women's intuition is a hell of a thing. But come to find out, he ended up seeing somebody else. And I clearly was heartbroken because I was like, dude, like, I've been here, whatever, you told me that we would be in a relationship. And so I was like, I'm bad. I was like, what the fuck, And so, yeah, he like got into another relationship. Did it end up lasting? No. Did he try hitting me?
Of course not.
Faux show. But at that point in time, I was just like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of, back then it was like the universe was showing me signs of like, I have a hard time of like letting people go. And so I feel like sometimes it's almost like they have to freaking do the utmost disrespectful things to me. And it's like they have to be the ones to like leave or go find somebody else. And then within that time frame of like, okay, they're not talking to me, they're leaving me alone, they're like clearly focused on somebody else, is where I'm like, okay, you're a piece of shit, I'm over it type thing. So then like I ended up like getting involved with another guy, and that was the same thing too. Like, situationship, there was another girl involved, like good old Safford, just, it was, yeah, the whole little like circle, triangle, if you will. And I just kept like repeating that cycle of like, okay, I like you, we're doing some things, oh, but you don't want to be with me, that's okay. I'm gonna just stay loyal, and I'm gonna stay proving to you like why you should want to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
Then COVID happened, and like I didn't have a job, and that's when I went to like the academy to become a correctional officer. And I told myself, I was like, okay, you know what? Like, you need to get your shit together. Like, this is ridiculous. We're not doing this anymore. And so that's actually how I ended up meeting like the person that like I got into a relationship. So I was like, okay, like the universe is like, here you go. Like you're different. You say you want different. Like here's that.
There you
and
go.
Then yeah, and it was like different. It was nice. Like the relationship itself was like 7 months. I got to do the whole like meeting the family. They met my family. Like we did holidays together. Like I was in like my little Lover Girl era, you know? But then there was like an age difference. And so that was kind of hard too. But just as much as like it was their first relationship, in a way it was kind of also my first relationship.
Yeah.
And so there were like some issues and stuff. And now like looking back, I'm like, okay, there were like quite a few like red flags. But again, I looked past all of that because I was like, I care about you and I want you in my life and I'll do whatever it takes. And so that relationship then turned into another situationship where it's like we're doing all the relationship things, but like we're not technically together.
The title.
And so, yeah, and I was just like, and it's like so much time of like my life was like taken because I was just wasting it on these people of doing the whole like, I'm staying loyal to you. I'm not talking to anybody else. I'm not trying to be with anybody else. Like, I'm just basically here. Like, I'm a freaking doormat and like you can just step all over me type thing. But don't worry, you know. So that really like that went on for like 2.5 years. And then the same thing of like, oh, go and commit to somebody else. And I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, why does this keep happening to me, you know? And so that's why I was like, you know what? Like now I had to get to a point where I was like, okay, clearly, because yeah, like these people, you know, men, whatever, like they have their faults, obviously, and they have their own issues that they need to work on. But I was like, okay, like you're the common denominator here, homegirl. Like, why are you allowing this? Why are you tolerating this? And I was like, why are you basically not dating, whatever. Why are you involved with the same person, but like basically different body, if you will? Like it was the same dynamic.
Like the same character, different font. That's what it is.
Yeah. And so I was just like, I don't know. I think I just like, I'm honestly so like, it was probably I think it was more harder for me to like get over that situation because that was like 2.5 years. And because it was actually a relationship to start with. And because there was more involved for me anyways. Like the other ones, now that I look back, I'm like, I didn't meet their family. We didn't like do.
Because you met the families and like you spent holidays together, like as a couple, like it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, like there was more like emotional attachments. You know, I'm like making not just like this bond with this person, but like animals and family, and like we're doing stuff. And so it's like, to me, it's like that was a lot more to like take myself away from, as opposed to in the past, we were just hanging out type stuff. We didn't like meet each other's family. We didn't like go out of town movies.
Like low key.
Yeah, those were like low key. So those were like, it took me like 6 months to be like, whatever, I'm over it. And this one, like a year, like it's been a year, and it took me a long time, and it was like really hard, especially with like transitioning over here. And like February was like, I don't even know, like the start of this year was just like a life changing moment for me. Cause like you know, my aunt passed away in like January, and then like February, I was like, okay, I'm leaving for school. And then I'm still like dealing with like that situation. And it was like a lot of things going on all at one time. But I do feel like, you know, I had to take accountability for like the role that I played in my own suffering. Mm-hmm. And I had to stop like making it about these people, and I just needed to like give all of like that energy and love that I was giving into like them, like, and give it to myself so that I could be like who and like where I am today. But yeah, that's why I'm just like, one relationship, like 3 situationships. Well, and now my single girl era, which is great.
Hey, we love to see it. Hey. No, I can definitely, like, I relate to you when you talk about, like, how long it takes to get over the situation, not like a situationship, but just, like, the situation with somebody, especially after having, like, such a, like, a special bond with that person. It's not, like, something that you can just, like, throw away. So, like, my first adult relationship, like, not, when I was 18, I started dating this person, and, like, it was my first relationship as an adult. And so, like, when I say that, it means this is the first person that I lived with that wasn't, like, you know, like, my family and stuff like that. Like, we lived together, we had pets together. We had like, he knew my family, I knew his family. It was like the first person that I was with that I could see myself spending the rest of my life with. You know, the first person that I thought, I'm going to marry this person. I want to marry this person. But there were so many things in that relationship that were just, like, not good. Like his family didn't like me. Like, his friends grew to, like, not like me. And, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, there was a lot of things that I did in that relationship that, like, brought that on. But it was just, like, me always feeling like he never had my back. Like, he was never there for me. Like, but, again, I stayed because I really, really loved this person. I really, really wanted it to work out. We spent 3.5 years together. And the way we ended things was just, like, it was really, really shitty. And it was kind of just like, we should have ended things like probably months and months before we actually did. But I think just neither of us wanted to call it quits because we were just comfortable in the situation that we were in. So, like, by the end of our relationship, it felt like we were more like roommates than we were like actual like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
And it was hard too because, like, all of my really close friends around me, they were, like, getting engaged and getting married, and they were having kids, and, like, here I was, like, we were just still dating 3.5 years, like, nothing felt like it was progressing. And, like, I get that, like, now I get that, like, marriage and engagement and things like that is not what proves to be, like, a healthy and stable relationship. It's, like, many, many other things. But, like, at the time, it just felt like, hey, we live together, like, we've been together this long, we've done this, this, and this. Like, why does it feel like nothing else is moving forward? And so that was, like, a big kind of, like, staple that I just kind of kept in the back of my head for, like, future relationships and things like that. So we ended up breaking up, and, you know, when we broke up, I had a really hard time with it, even though I was the one that initially, like, said, hey, I don't think we should be together anymore. And he was just like, okay. And we never had that, like, last conversation together. We never, like, I wanted to have a conversation for, like, closure, you know? Because, like, how do you spend that much time with somebody and not have any kind of closure or, like, anything like that? And I just felt like as soon as I said it was done, like, he was done. He was checked out. And he was seeing somebody else, and he, like, didn't, like, he was done. And that, like, it really hurt my feelings. Like, it still hurts my feelings.
I think... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it just, like, it hurts my feelings because I feel like there was a long period of time where he really did try to make things good and work. But, like I said, like, we should have broken up months before we did. And during that time period where I felt like we were just kind of like in a roommate stage, I just started doing my own thing. Like I started like hanging out with my friends and like that's when I just turned 21. So I was going to the bars with my friends and stuff. And like, I just like, and I was a lot happier. When I was with him, all I was so-and-so's girlfriend. It's like my identity got taken away because more people knew him. His personality was like much louder and much like bolder, I guess you could say, than mine was. And so I just like, I felt like I lost who I was and my personality and all those things. So, you know, then after that relationship ended, I got pregnant. Woo! We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, no. I get
it. But like, okay, so that whole period happened, right? And then like after my divorce and stuff like that, I really like thought about like what I was going to do if I ever like got into like a new relationship and things like that. Because when I was going through my divorce, I had no intentions of like getting with anybody. Like I didn't want like to talk to people. Like I was just like, I don't want to be in another relationship because that was like another 3 years of my life. So I felt like I was just like spending all this time with people, and for what? Like for it to not work out.
Yeah.
Like, and so I just wanted to spend some time just kind of like figuring out who I was again and just kind of like doing my own thing. And it was, I did that. I mean, me and Pat were like, we had met and we were like seeing each other, but at the same time we were both like in the agreement that like, you know, you're single, I'm single, we're not exclusive, like you do you, I'm gonna do me or whatever. And it was just kind of like it was a good little break to figure out what I wanted before I got into a relationship with somebody else. But like that heartbreak from my first adult relationship stuck with me for such a long time. Like I don't think I got over that relationship honestly until right before, like until I met Patrick. Like that's how long it stuck with me. Because, and I think because there was no closure. And still, it's still kind of weird, like and awkward whenever we see each other. And I just like, I hate that. Like I wish I could just, how do you spend that much time with somebody and it's just now it's awkward and weird that you can't even speak to each other?
Yes, that's the thing too that I will say of like this last like relationship, situationship, whatever. There were plenty of times where like I either kind of like, it was like a push-pull dynamic. So there'd be times where I'm like, okay, like you don't want to be with me, then I'm gonna either pull back my energy, and I would, and then it'd be like oh, come over, or I miss you, or I want to try again dynamic, and then things would be okay, and then it would like repeat. Or I'd be like, okay, like I'm talking to somebody else type thing, and then it's like, oh, like then they'd be like, oh no, like I want to be with you, we'll make it work. And I'd be like, okay, I love you, I don't really care about this new person, you know. And then even like this person, and this is what I was referring to earlier about like theories, is because like, you know, this person moved states as well, and I was like a part of like that transition. And I had even said like, hey, if you're young, you're gonna like make this move, you're gonna do all this stuff, like if I basically like gave plenty of outs where I would be like, if you don't want to be with me, or especially with like the move for them, I was like, we don't have to like do this anymore. Like it'll hurt and it'll suck for me because I want to be with you and I'm willing to do anything to make it work. But, you know, I'm basically like, take it or leave it. And same thing. It's like very confusing of like, no, we'll make it work. You know, when I came to visit them, And same thing, like, it was just, that for me was like, this is my big gesture, like in the fucking romance movies where, you know,
the boombox over your head and shit.
Yes. And so that was like my grand gesture of like, you know, it was like 2 months after they had moved. And then I was like, we talked about it. Cause I was like, if you want to go do your thing, like, we can just end it here. And they're like, no, we'll make it work. And I was like, okay. And then that's when we like planned for me to come visit. And I did. I came and visited. And it was just like, I want to say like by the third day, I was like crying. I called my best friend. I was like, I just want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Like, it was just not a good experience for me. And, you know, there were like, even then, some dynamics of like, you know, we had like a heated argument, and then we took each other off social media, and then we didn't talk to each other. And then, of course, the cycle of, I miss you, yada, yada. And as far as like that situation goes too, it was like this person kept giving me like false hope of like, you know, I want to say like a couple of probably 2 months before, because literally like I just got ghosted. Like, I didn't get how you were saying about the closure. Like, I didn't get that at all. It was like we were like FaceTiming every day. I had mentioned to them how like, hey, I'm going to be moving for like school, you know, like this person brought up us living together type stuff. Like, I was like hoping like, okay, cool. Like, maybe this will be a chance for us to like really start over type stuff. Or maybe this person with like the time apart and everything like that, maybe they've had like some clarity to be like, okay, like I do want to be with her. And so that's kind of that's where I was. That's what I was thinking, because they kind of like, that's how they made it seem. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, it just like, I just stopped hearing from them, like just randomly. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then, you know, I basically had to find out through like social media that like they had gotten into like a whole nother relationship. They were posting this person, like the profile picture. And I was like, what? Like,
I think we give men too much credit.
Yeah.
Like, they're being able to find clarity. Because when has a man ever found clarity? When?
No.
Comment below. When have they ever found clarity?
But, and then too, it's like, how do I say it? Like, my thing with that too, like how you were saying, like for you, it was like 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, okay, if I wasn't just a friends with benefit type thing, I'm like, dude, like I've, you know, there's been like money involved, there's family involved, like there's just so much more to like whatever we had going on, that I just expected more of this person to like just tell me like, hey, I don't know why I've been telling you that like, yeah, da 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 da, and I'm FaceTiming you every day and we're texting, but I just should let you, like, it was more of like, I at least expected this person to like communicate with me and just be honest and just like tell me that, or just like say, hey, you know what, like I'm pursuing somebody else, rather than me having to like be Inspector Gadget detective. Because it's like, how, you know, like, and for whatever reason, like I will say too, like, since we're on the topic of like giving advice and stuff like that, like, lurk, get your feelings hurt. Because but I will say, like, just as much as it like gave me like, okay, like I see what's going on, it also kind of like started giving me all of these insecurities that I didn't necessarily have before. Because then I fell down that rabbit hole of like, okay, what's so special about this girl that they want to be with her, that they're posting her, but they didn't do that with me, you know? And so then I'm like, oh, wow, she's this, and this, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not pretty enough, and there's something wrong with me for this person, you know, like, that's my thing of like the whole social media thing is like, if you're gonna go down that rabbit hole of like trying to see like what's going on, like,
better be prepared for consequences.
Yes, I'm like, and I'm not one to judge because I did. I will admit to it that
I'm sure we all have at some point.
because it's like,
haven't, you're lying.
yeah, I'm like, when you're not, I'm like, come on now, how do you, when someone like mentally speaking, when someone is like very hot and heavy and they're being consistent, and then all of a sudden like a flip switches, yeah, you're gonna be like, what the heck happened? And if they don't give you that clarity or like at least that explanation,
the answers, you're gonna go find them
yourself. Go find them, which I did. You know, and so yeah, I will say, like, you know, I do feel like that kind of also didn't help. Plus, I was still like involved with like the family, so I was still talking to the family, and that too is like was also hard because it's like, you know, in a way, like I wasn't ready. I didn't want to like let them go because I was just like, I already lost this person, right? And so I was like, now I have to also go through this. So I will say that like you gotta definitely like just clean cut. You know, go ahead, do your little search, but then like block them. Don't look, don't check, don't even like, because it really set me back on like my healing journey, and I feel like it brought on all of these insecurities that I wasn't good enough at, like I didn't necessarily had before. Because even looking at like watching back like your podcast from last year, and then I mean this person had moved, so like I even feel like that's when I started going to the gym. Like I was going out, I was hanging out with my friends, like I was in a good place. And then again, you know, I kind of let this person have like so much control over me that once all of that happened, then I just like completely, it set me back to where I was like, oh, like I'm just fat and ugly and no one likes me. And like, yeah, it was a very long road to get where I am today because again of like the comparison and just, you know, letting someone else like let their actions see the way that I saw myself, rather than now where I'm like, that speaks on you. That is, you know, if someone can like just easily discard you like that, or just like, you know, not even like grow a pair and just be honest and communicate, like I'm like, come on, like, you know, we're all adults, like we're all, but some people just I guess don't have like that mental capacity to like own up to their shit. I'm like, me, ain't no shame in my game. Like I will sit here and tell you, was I making sad girl TikToks about it? Oh fuck, I was.
Absolutely.
Was I, you know, one of my friends, some friends like I don't necessarily talk to, like, or I feel like I kind of, there's just like certain people that like I come to for certain things, because it's like, you know, if I need like a pick me up, or like some friends that I can have more of like those serious conversations with, if you will. But like one of my good friends, you know, she's like, I can talk to her about it 500 times and she's still gonna like support me through it, rather than there's like some people where they're just like, well, I told you not to be looking and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I know, but we're past that, okay? I told you to cut off the family. I'm like, I know, but it took me a while, okay?
I'm just a girl. What do you want from me?
Exactly. But that's why I said, like, I feel like I'm getting more to a place now, too, where I'm like, as far as like what, like content and stuff like that I want to put out there, like, I'm just like, I can talk about things now without like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry or like whatever, because I'm just like, no, like I am genuinely like so at peace with everything that I'm like,
it just takes time. Like it just takes time, and it takes going through certain situations for you to like get over stuff. And the thing is like, I don't think you'll ever be able to get over certain things or situations, breakups and things like that, unless you're like moving in like a positive direction. So like for me, the reason why that relationship I think took so long for me to get over was because the relationship that I went into, it wasn't better. And so like, I don't know, for a long time I had this mentality that like, if maybe we had been together at a different time, that it would have been better. Like if we were older, like, and grown up a little bit, like maybe it would have worked out. But I think now I'm at the place, because of my relationship with Patrick, I'm at a place where I'm like, there's no way that it probably would have ever worked out.
Yep.
Like, and like I'm at peace with that. But I had to that took a really long time, because like I said, I was in a whole other relationship for like another 3 years before I like realized that and like had that mentality about that person. So a long time I thought like maybe it was just the right person, the wrong time. You know what I mean? And it just like, because like you said, like he was like going on and like doing his life or whatever, and like people were telling me like, oh, he's dating so and so, he's dating so and so. I was like, listen, you don't need to come to me and tell me that. Like whatever he's doing, let him be. Like he's doing him, I'm gonna do me. It's whatever. But like, you know, it hurt. And then like I found out like all I wanted was to get married to him. All I wanted was to have a baby with him. Like that was what I wanted.
Yep.
And to find out later on that he married this girl, it like shattered me. I was just like, oh, like what made her special enough to get married to that like couldn't make that commitment to me? You know what I mean? And you know, even when they like said they were having a kid together, like it was just like, it was like a slap in the face. And it was hard. And it's like, I'm really putting my business out there, because people that know me know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm not saying it to be like, you know, malicious or anything like that. I'm just saying it like I realize now, like I didn't get over that because I didn't have the love for myself, and also I didn't have like a relationship that proved to me that that was not what I needed. It was not what I needed. And even like the time, it didn't matter. Like me and that person weren't going to work out because we were two different people. We didn't know how to communicate with each other. We didn't have just that relationship dynamic that like I wanted. Like I like being able to tell my partner anything and everything that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And the fact that I felt like I had to like be a different person with this person, or like even just like change my persona to make them seem like, to make their people like me better, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
The person that I'm with now, I can be my like whole authentic self with, and he's still gonna love me at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And I think that's so important for people to like realize, is that like the person that you choose to be with is not gonna make you change who you are to fit their lifestyle.
Exactly. And one thing I will say too is I do feel like I spent, because like that time of my life, now that like I'm like I can look back and you know I'm like, okay, yeah, I was very like sensitive and very emotional, and I think it was more so because I feel like I was like going into overdrive trying to like prove to this person and to this person's family, you know, like I'm wifey material. I'm a good daughter-in-law. I'm a good sister-in-law. Like, you know, like.
Let him know that. Tell him that.
Yeah. And so I feel like I was trying to so hard to like prove to like everyone, like I'm good enough and you guys should love me and he should want to be with me. And, you know, like why? And then it's almost like I was getting like resentful because I'm like, hey, I'm basically a girlfriend. I'm doing all these girlfriend things, but we're not together. And rather than removing myself from the equation, which is what I should have done, I just was like, oh, nope. You know, he saw it. I think I held on to he saw it at one point in time, and I was the love of his life and all that, like, at one point in time. So I'm like, oh, we'll get there again. Like, but again, it was like me.
Let me prove it to you.
Yes. And also with the, like, and even not just like with this situation, but any situation prior, and in my life in general, is like, I've just never felt like people validated me and my experience and my feelings. And like nobody who's ever made me like feel some type of way or hurt me. Oh, and this is one thing that I will say too, because of like, obviously I'm sure people are going to watch this and I have nothing to hide. My biggest thing is stating the facts of what happened is not talking shit or badly on anyone. If I want to sit here and talk about like your weird fetishes or like your childhood trauma, like, or you got a big forehead, then that's talking shit. Like, you know what I mean? That's malicious. That is malicious. But for me to be like, you basically just dump me, like, no, that's not. So just saying, disclosure, if you will.
I got the receipts, baby.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and I think that was another thing too. Like the guys, like throughout my entire life, and like even, you know, my family and even some of like just my friendships, if you will, it's like I've always searched for the validation from other people for them to just say like, damn, you know what, I'm sorry, like I fucked you over, basically. Or I'm sorry that I hurt you, like let me do better. Or, you know, I'm proud of you.
I'm really like, I relate to that a lot, because like I feel like I've gotten to a point where I can take accountability for like the shitty things that I've said and the shitty things that I've done, and it's just like, yes, that's who I was and that's what I did. Going forward, I'm not gonna try to, like, I have consciousness of that and those mistakes and like the issues that it's giving me, and I'm not trying to do that again.
Exactly. And that's the thing though, is like some people don't, how do I say that? I feel like almost sometimes people almost will like avoid you or cut you off because
they don't have to take accountability.
Yes. I'm like, doing people wrong and then avoiding them is not protecting your peace.
Hold on, time out. I was texting Patrick to tell him to get me some more tall boys.
Did he get you some?
I think he's getting his shoes on right now so he can go to the store.
Listen, I love that for you. That's how it should be.
Let me tell you, I have a great relationship right now.
I love that for you. And I have a great relationship with myself, so...
As you should.
I went.
I'm like almost done with this, dude. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. I'm like, I probably got like a fourth of a way.
You started before me.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I love you so much. You are the sun, the stars, and all my moons, or whatever the saying is. I love you. And that is the definition of a great relationship.
Yes. And you know what? Like, that's what I'm saying too, is like, I love seeing other people, like, especially like my friends that have like not necessarily had the best relationships or they've kind of been through shit. And then to get to a point in their life now where it's like you, for example, like, you know, it's like a healthy, loving relationship. And like, I'm like, okay, like it does get better. And that's where I want to be. And
honestly, though, that is how I felt for the longest time. Because I have some friends that have been married. Like, I have a friend who's been married for 10 years. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, how? Like, what? Like, what is the secret? What are you guys doing? Like, and that's how I felt about it for a really long time. Because when you see them, you just know, like, and you see the way that they speak to each other. And you see the way that they, like, just are towards each other. And it's just so natural and it's so peaceful. And, like, for a long time, like, that's, like, what I looked up to. And that's what I felt was the standard. And I didn't, like, have that. I was like, maybe that's, like, not real because it took me so long to find it. But it's just, like, it is real. And it is possible. And it's just, like, sometimes you gotta go through the ringer and hit rock bottom. But it's just, like, don't settle for... And speaking of settle. So, that guy that I was with, I had asked him one time. I said, do you feel like you're settling for me? And he was just like, like settle, like, yeah, I feel like we're settled with each other. Like, isn't that what you want to do? And I was like, no, like, do you feel like this is as good as it's going to get? We've been together as long as we have. Like, we might as well just stay together, because what's the point in starting over? You know, for as long as we've been together. And, like, I don't think he understood, like, what I was saying when I said, do you feel like you're settling for me? And so when I brought that up to Patrick, and he, like, understood immediately what I meant. He was just like, I don't feel like I'm settling for you. I feel like this is, like, what we have is good, and I don't want anything else. And I feel like you don't know what's good until it's, like, right in front of you, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, don't go looking for it, because it'll come and hit you in the face when you least expect it. Like, I did not expect to meet Patrick and, like, for our situationship to go anywhere at all, because that's what it was. It was like he's all, I'm not looking for a relationship. I said I wasn't looking for a relationship, and we left it at that. Well, you know me, I'd be catching feelings, and it's disgusting. But lo and behold, he liked me too. He just didn't want to admit it.
No, yeah, and I will say, like, and same thing, you know, for a while there, I very much, like, I wanted to square up with this person. Like, I was like, you know, who's ready to rumble? You know, and I'm like, and that's completely valid. Like, that's the thing now, like, back to what I was saying earlier, is like, I had to, being by myself and moving and all this stuff, like, really just it was the best thing. Like, and even, like, because this person, like, I also had to grieve, like, the idea of them being a part of this journey, because we had talked about it, and they're not anymore. And you know, it took me a little while, but I was just like, I'm so thankful for, like, all of it. Like, I'm thankful that I got to experience that relationship and the whole, like, dynamic of, like, the family stuff, and, like, knowing what I have to offer as, like, a girlfriend, if you will, but also just, like, the lessons that I learned, and, like, it really just, like, pushed me, you know, because it's like, my problem is I don't know, at least before, I didn't know how to just walk away and let people go. Yeah. And it's like, this was, like, the very last, like, canon event, if you will, that I was just like, no, you know? And so now I look back and I'm like, where I'm at now and how everything has come together for me, and just, like, even who I am as a person, I'm just so thankful that, like, I didn't let, like, it might have, like, broken me for, like, a little bit, but it didn't, like, break my spirit. And if anything, like, just like everything else that I've been through in my life, I use it to, like, motivate me and keep me doing better. And I'm just like, wow, like, you know, like, how do I say it? I was like, I'm still like, have the life you deserve. But it's just like, you know, it's hard when you're in, like, the thick of it. But you do, like, you will, like, time in life will work itself out. And not only that, it's what you do in that time. Because I imagine if, like, you know, if during this time, if I was still, like, checking social media, or if I was still in contact with the family, or if I was just, like, you know, not allowing myself to, like, look inside and, like, all of the reflecting that I've done, then yeah, I feel like I'd still probably be, like, where I was on day one. Yeah. But I've taken the time to really, like, and that's why I think now I'm even into, like, the whole dating online and stuff like that, because I feel like, okay, like, I'm at a point where I'm ready to, like, allow myself to, like, move on and see what else is out there, and be open to, like, new opportunities and meeting people, and honestly just having fun. Because throughout my whole life, I have never experienced being single in the fact of, like, just going out on dates and getting to know people and other things.
I love the idea of, like, going on dates and just meeting people like out and about, like, you know, which you can't do in like a small town like this, because chances are you probably know the person and it's whatever. But like, I love that idea of like being able to go on dates and stuff. And the funny thing is too, is like when I was with that person, I had moved to Tucson and I lived there for like almost a year, but it was so hard for me to like branch out and be like, you know me, I'm pretty like outgoing and like I get along with so many people, and like I had a few friends up in Tucson and stuff, but it's just like I didn't feel like I should go anywhere or do anything because I had a boyfriend that was living 2 hours away and I didn't want to do anything to be like disrespectful or anything like that to him. So I kept myself in like a shell, and like I feel like if I had been single and living in Tucson at the time, like I would have thrived. Like I would have done so good up there. I probably would still be there. I love my life. I love everything I've got going on right now, but you know what I'm saying? Different perspective. And so like I really love seeing young people and how they don't get out of high school and they don't get married right away. Like they move away, or they just kind of like do their own thing and they date. And I think that's so cool. Like I'm just like, as you should. Like, and especially after a hard and heavy breakup, you should definitely take the time, not a week, not 2 weeks, not even like a month, like take months, take time to like just be yourself, go out, have fun, be with your friends, go on dates, just like give yourself time, especially after a huge heartbreak. Because I think jumping from one relationship to the next is like, you just need to have the time in between. Because I did that. I went from one serious relationship to another serious relationship, and I never had time in between to figure out like what the fuck I was doing. So
I think that too. Cause like with there was like maybe like 6 months in between like each situation, if you will. But again, I just feel like I had a lot of emotional baggage going from like, okay, I still didn't allow, like, I just separated from the person, if you will, but I still like some of those insecurities and stuff, like from the last person, I kind of like carried with me. And so that's why like this time around, like, you know, I told myself like, I don't, and I know, like I said, I'm at a point now where I'm like, I validate myself and my feelings. If something hurts me, it hurts me. If it takes me fucking 20 years to recover, that's my business, you know? But I just don't like, and I love it. I know like nobody else has to see it because I see it for myself. But like, even like with doing like online dating, like number one, I am so much funnier than every man I meet. I'm just going to say that. But I'm so like detached now. Like, I'm just like, you know what? Whatever is meant for me will work out for me, will come to me. If a guy like doesn't respond to me, or if we're not vibing, I'm not doing what I've done in the past where I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and like convince you to like pick me, choose me, love me, you know? I'm like,
okay, hold on. Let me tell you what I think about that. Fuck that shit. Meredith Grey should have never chose Derek. Sorry, Derek is toxic. I don't like him.
Exactly.
And
no,
I'm
but
stand on that opinion.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't take it personally anymore.
Thank you. I love you so much.
Hey, I love that for you. It's like what, 4:00 on a Sunday, and we're just vibing.
It's the Lord's. Oh, he got me not the right one. Oh, well, I'm gonna drink it. I'm buzzing. Hold on, ready for this SMR?
Love that.
I don't even know if this episode makes sense or anything that I'm saying makes sense.
You know what? It's fine.
Let me tell you what. I'm buzzing.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it's just, I'm like, if we vibe, cool. If they want to meet up, cool. If they don't, I have nothing to prove. I don't ever want to put myself in that same situation where I'm like, I feel like I have to prove myself. Now I'm like, take it or leave it. Like, either you want to, reciprocate or you don't, but I'm not like, I just don't have it in me anymore.
Beg you for attention.
Yeah. And that's how I'm like, and then too, that's why I know, like, because it's easy. Like, those months where, like, I wasn't doing anything, like, I've literally just been by myself, not talking to anyone, nothing of the sorts. It's easy to, like, be like, oh, I'm healed because you're by yourself. You don't have triggers. You're not, like, in situations where, a guy's treating you like crap type thing. So when I was like, okay, like, going into, like, being online dating and stuff like that, I was just like, okay, like, what are my intentions? What do I want? Like, what am I looking for? All that stuff. I said that for myself, and I'm like, okay. And so now that, I'm into it, I'm just like, yeah, like, if I don't, I'm so glad that I'm at that point in my life now where I'm like, I don't take it personally. Like, if you don't want to talk to me or whatever, I don't be like, oh my God, I'm so ugly. He doesn't like me. And I'm just like, you're lost. And that's one thing, like, for anyone who watches or whatever, or like they've gone through it and stuff like that. Cause what, I'm going to say this too, not to toot my own horn, and whatever these guys' intentions are, I've had since I got on, like, it's been like 2 weeks since I got on Tinder. Okay. I have had like 1,000 matches, and I was like, Safford could never. Okay,
who is she? She got Cheetah from the streets.
And it's almost like an ego boost, but it just kind of like put things into perspective. Like, I'm like, what? Like I said, do all of these guys want to marry me? Do all these guys want to? Probably not, but still, it's just knowing and put into my perspective, because I spent so much time feeling like I'm ugly and I'm fat and like no one likes me and no one wants to be with me. And now I'm like, what, girl, who are you crying over? Like, what one didn't want to do, there's at least 1,000 other waiting. Like,
and listen. As a girl mom, I think that is so important. It's just like,
yes.
This, like, for anybody that wants to stay in this town, that's fine too. But it's just like, there are so many people out there, and it's just like, they're right around the corner when you least expect it. So, like, don't be crying every night over some dusty ass boy who can't get shit together.
Exactly.
Right around the corner, who's gonna find the man of your dreams? You just gotta let time, like, there's no timeline either. It's like, I think that's another thing, is like, people are rushing to find their soulmate to get their life started. Like, your life isn't started once you find the person that you want to be with for the rest of your life. Your life starts when you start doing the things that make you happy, that make you, like, just living your best life. And, like, I feel like once you do that, like, all of the pieces just kind of start to flow together. So, like, for you, like, you moved states, and now you're, like, doing the dating scene and things like that. And it's just, like, it's not saying that you're going to find your soulmate tomorrow. You might. Who knows? But it's just, like, that you prioritize yourself. I think that's the most important thing to do, is prioritizing yourself, because, guys, girls, they come and go, but, like, as long as you love yourself and you're taking care of yourself and, like, doing the things that make you happy and just, like, living life is, like, what's most important. And, and like, the heartbreaks, like, some people, they get it right the first time, aka Daddy Pat. He ain't gonna never need nobody else. But, like, if you're, I feel like going through heartbreak sometimes is like a blessing in disguise, because it teaches you the values and the qualities and the people that you want to be with going forward. And also, it teaches you to not think of yourself lesser than, and to put yourself, above everything, I think. If that makes sense. I don't know. I'm a little drunk. It might not.
No, and that's what I'm saying, like, for, people that are going to be watching and like, maybe they're in like a situation or they're going through something similar. And it's just like, that's my thing is like, once I decided what I wanted to do for myself and what like was best for me, and like, yeah, some people might be like, oh, well, my mother, she just moved the dick. And I'm just like, chasing the D, chasing that degree. But it's like, once I did, because I'm like, it's a whole new place. I've like gone, I have like a vision board, which I started last year, and it's been life changing. This year I wrote a letter to myself, like of what I wanted, like for out of this year, and I'm like, sometimes I'm half tempted to like remove it so I can read it, but I'm like, no, girl, wait until 2025. But yeah, I'm just like, no, like the world is so much bigger than anyone who has ever made you feel small. Like I literally, in just 7 months that I've been here, like the places I've been to, the people I've met, like all of those experiences is just like, it's been life changing. And again, I feel like God, the universe, like whatever you believe in, like always has your back. And sometimes like things have to happen and they have to kind of intervene because it's like you wouldn't make the move, or you weren't going to let this person go, or, it's just like it's pushing you because this is what you needed. And like me, yeah, being by myself, it does. Like I won't lie and say that it doesn't get lonely. And I won't lie and say that, there's still days where like I still think about that person and I might get a little sad and be like, oh, like, I wonder how like they're doing now and stuff like that. But I allow myself to feel it and just acknowledge it and say, you know what, like, it's okay. Cause that goes to show the type of person that I am. Like, I love people to death. And
to like acknowledge it. You don't have to like tuck it down and like ignore it, because I don't feel like that's either.
For a while there, that's how I guess I was like mad at myself, because I'm like, why do you still care about this person who did you so dirty? Like, why do you care about them? Why do you still like, you need to hate them. You need to like, da 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 da. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I still got love for you, but it's like, it's from a distance. And like, it's like clearly it's not the same love that it once was,
I want to say that, like, I remember hearing, like, this quote that one time, and it's like, well, obviously, like, if you love someone, it's not that easy to just, like, drop them and forget them, because, like, how do you do that? So you're always going to have, like, this type of feeling inside your heart for them, and you're going to always hope, like, that's what I always thought about, like, my ex with his new person that, he was with. I was like, I don't wish anything bad on him, and I hope that what they have is what makes him happy. Because at the end of the day, like, I just wanted him to be happy. And that, I felt like, was a lot for me to, like, put out into the universe, if you will. Yeah. And like, I still feel that way. Like, I don't wish bad on any of my exes, I don't think. I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, I hope they're doing good. Or I even, like, see them, like, on social media and stuff, and I'm like, they have kids or they're married and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm so happy for them. Like, because why am I going to be mad? Like, things didn't work out with us, but I'm not going to, like, wish something never work out for you. Because what if they thought that about me,
You're like, sorry.
But it's just like, if you really, truly love somebody, no matter how badly you guys fell off, like, I think there's always just a piece of you that just wants them to have good things, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to be ashamed to admit it either. Like, you're grown if you can admit it.
And that's the thing. Like I said, obviously it takes a little while for you to get there, because, initially
definitely not an overnight thing.
Yeah, initially, like,
it's gonna take a day, a week, a month. It might take years.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yeah, because initially, it comes with the territory of being, betrayed or just like being hurt. You're angry. You have to kind of like work through that. And so,
but I feel like there's like a timeline of also like, you should be over that already. Like,
no, and that's what another thing that I kind of struggled with is, that not feeling validated because people would be like, girl, it's been 8 months. Girl, it's been 6 months. Girl, he moved on. Like, why do you still care? You know? And I had to be like,
and I can.
Yeah. And I had like, it was just this whole, there's just so much that goes into that, you know, like, and I think some people just don't understand. But again, I think it goes to show like you as the individual of like how much and how deep like your love runs, you know. And even when I was angry, like I still was just like, I would take a second and be like, okay, like, you know, trying to like give this person like grace, because I believe in like hurt people. And I think that sometimes like people like kind of mishandle you or mistreat you. And my only hope like for this person, like obviously because it's like what I went through was hard, and I don't want, much less, I'm a girl's girl, so I would never want like anybody else to feel the way that I did or have to go through what I did. So the only thing that I can say is like I genuinely hope that like this person has like grown from our situation so that they're not inflicting that same pain onto somebody else. But again, that's none of my business, you know, like,
yeah.
People, I will say too, like, I don't want to say that people aren't capable of change, because I feel like I've changed, but I also feel like we are who we are, like, at our core. And until you can actually sit down and look at yourself in the mirror and, like, acknowledge and own up to your shit, then, yeah, I don't think people will ever change. Yep. And I also, real quick, the whole, if he wanted to, he would. Yeah. If a guy wants to get married, he'll get married. If a guy wants to have kids, you know, whatever. But I don't feel it in the sense of like, you know, where in like my situation where, oh, well, he didn't commit to me, but he committed to somebody else. If he wanted to, he would. Because it's just like, don't let whatever this person does like dictate the way that you see yourself or make you feel like, oh, well, he didn't commit to me, but he committed to somebody else. Because that's just gonna fuck you up. So it's like, my thing is, if someone is like, because yeah, you know, there's people, like I said, things that even when I was younger and stuff like that, like people, there's definitely a time and place for growth. And I think that, you know, sometimes people might like be like, damn, like, you know, maybe I didn't treat this person necessarily the best, so let me try and like be better. But even then, people are who they are at the car. So it's like, if he wanted to, he would. It's like, if he wanted to be a good person and a good partner, then that would just be who he is as an individual. And that's just like my whole stance of like those people that dish that out to like, because I heard that a lot. Like a lot of people, that advice was given to me a lot. If he wanted to, he would. And he wanted to, and I'm like, because I just like, but yeah, I'm just like, no, like people are who they are at their core. And at the end of the day, like, I feel like as women, like, that's the biggest thing. Like, I just want anyone to, like, take away from this is do not allow another person, whether it's a guy, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, whoever it is, to make you feel any less than or let their actions determine if you're worthy or not. Because you are. Like, you don't need to lose. I used to be like, oh, if I lose like 60 pounds, you know, then someone's gonna wipe me up type stuff. Like, no, like whether or not you have, whatever you have or what you do, it's not about that. It shouldn't be determined. It's of who you are at your core. So like, you know, cause I'm someone who goes out of my way and above and beyond for people. And now I'm just like, that's still who I am. But I also just like, don't, I said it one time. I never want to stop seeing the good in people, but I don't want to use that as a reason for people who don't treat me good, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's that dynamic of, okay, you're not reciprocating, you're disrespectful, you're making me cry, you're making me question myself, my worth, where I stand. Then it's like, okay, love you, gotta go. Instead of taking it as a challenge of, okay, let me just try harder.
It can fix him.
Okay, Bob the Builder. But yeah, it's like, it's a lot. And I think too, just like, don't, definitely the people and things that you surround yourself with when like you're going through heartbreak, that's going to be very like, it's going to determine like your growth, because if you're around people who are just like either aren't going to help you through it or be supportive or just like try and uplift you through it, then you need to find like better people in your life. Because honestly, if it wasn't for like the people in my life that I have who have like been like, even if it's something as small as like hyping me up on my pictures, like I'm like, okay, she said I'm cute. But just stuff like that, it's just like there's plenty of other people and opportunities in your life for you to see how much you are loved and valued rather than someone who freaking just doesn't even have like the mental capacity to freaking face their own traumas, if you will. So.
Period. Yeah, I just...
Okay, I'm done with mine now. Oh, girl. I also DoorDash me some sopa. No, what are they? Sopes? I don't freaking know. I DoorDash me some Mexican food.
Okay.
Can't wait.
I made it last night.
But
yeah. I just think, if anything, like, and that's why I said, like, I like having this podcast and stuff, is because, like, I'm almost 30 years old now.
Yep.
I've had the long-term relationships, and I've had, I've gone through divorce, I've gone through multiple breakups, and, like, just, like, I feel like I have a lot of, like, advice to give as far as, like, what you should focus on when you go through a breakup.
Yeah.
And, like, 100%, you should just definitely focus on yourself. Focus on what makes you happy. Surround yourself with like good friends and positive people, because that's going to help you get through it as well. And like, if you need to grieve. Like, don't let anybody tell you that, because even if it was like a really toxic relationship or situationship, if it upsets you, take the time to grieve and let yourself feel those feelings, because I feel like if you tuck it away, it's just going to make it a lot worse. And also, when you go into like a new relationship, just remember the things from that previous one that like made you question either like who you were or like what your standards are, and just kind of go from there and make sure that you start your new relationship with kind of like those boundaries and those kind of expectations. And if those people aren't willing to meet them, then that's probably something that you don't need to like involve yourself with. Like, don't keep repeating the cycle. Don't keep repeating the pattern. Like, red is a good color, but it's not for everybody. Like,
it all just, it comes down to,
and you have to be willing to like also take accountability, and you have to be willing to like make those changes and like realize like what needs to be different moving forward. Because if you don't do that, then you're just going to keep going through the same thing with the same people, and you're going to be like, what the fuck? Why does this keep happening to me?
Yep, exactly. No, yeah, and that's why I said that's the one thing. It all literally starts with you. You can't change people. You can't control people. You are just in charge of yourself. And, you
really cannot be happy with another person until you're happy with yourself. Mm-hmm. And I am living proof of that.
No, and same. Like now I'm at a point, because I feel like I almost was like pouring from an empty cup, if you will. And now I'm like, oh no, I'm so full of like myself and my life that like, now if you're not gonna add to that, like, I don't want to keep you in my life. Like, I can't.
My time.
Yeah, like, because that's what I would do before, is like I would just pour and pour and pour, and like people would just take and take because I just kept giving. Like, I would I'd be like, oh, here you go. I'm in debt mentally, physically, emotionally.
And it's not like you're doing it with the expectation that people are going to give back to you, because that's not the type of, like, you should be able to be that giving person and get it back. It's not an expectation thing, but it's just like...
No, and that's the thing too. Like, one thing about me is, like, money, obviously we need it to live, you know, and, like, I'm not a materialistic person, and I'm not the type of person that, like, oh, well, I did this, so you owe me this. The only thing that I've ever asked for in return is, like, just some love. I'm like, I want to be appreciated. You know, and it's like, that's just like, that's just the bare minimum. Like, I know, like, anything that I ask for, I can give, you know, and it's just like, that's the thing too, is like, I had to just really take a look at myself and my life and who, you know, the person that I was, like, pobrecita, she just needed to love herself. That's it. She just needed to love herself. She just needed to be aware. She just needed to, like, say, you know what? I'm a boss ass bitch and act like it. That's it. You know, and it took her a little while, because I'm going to be 29 next month. And it took me a very long time, and, you know, a lot of stuff that I went through. But now I'm just like, I wish a bitch would. Because I'm not that person anymore. And, like, you know, I owe it to my past self. I owe it to her to continue to just live life and love life and enjoy life. And, you know, even, like, with the online dating, like, you know, the whole soulmate thing, like, I'm like, no, like, my expectation is, like, okay, obviously, because you have to get to know someone. You can't, like, how some people just be, you know, I'm like, good luck to you. But I'm just like, if it, like, I don't know, let's say I'm talking to someone and, like, a couple months go by and we're doing things or whatever, and then I'm like, I want more. You know, if I want to take it to the next level, and then they're still like, I just want to mess around, I'll be like, okay, then that's where I have to be like, I want more. You're not willing to give that to me. That's okay. You go live your life. And exactly. And I've already, you know, a few of the the things, like, it's already, like, I know, and I'm so proud of myself, because I'm like, okay, we're doing it. And that's the thing, is, like, you really have to, like, stand on business. You can't just be like, oh, well, and then not follow through. Like, you have to stand on business. You have to respect yourself, your boundaries, and just, like, love and appreciate yourself. You know, that's the only thing that I can say, really, is just, like,
preaching to the choir.
Yes, once you do that, then, like, any other situation in your life, like, you're just going to be able to just, like, move past so much more easily, so much more freely, and, like, you're just gonna be, like, a better person. Like I said, I feel like I'm so much happier, I'm so much funnier, like, I just love who I am now, and I'm so excited to, like, see what the future holds for me, because it's been a journey for sure. And, you know, especially, like, with us, like, our friendship, and too, like, I appreciate, like, you even, you know, still, even though I'm all the way over here, being like, hey, girl, you want to jump on this? I'm like, oh my God, yes, because, you know, one thing about me is,
I'm like, she's so far where I'm at. You know what? I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it fucking work.
I'm a yapper, okay? Like I said, I'm a yapper. Right now, like, I'm finally at a point where I'm, like, working a Monday through Friday type thing. I have weekends off. So yeah, I'm like, you know, there's even times where I've, like, made a joke where I'm like, cause I have a whole lot that I could talk about. But no, I'm just so proud of, like, you know, your relaunch, and just, like, you know, just the growth you've had as well. And, like, you know, I'm like, I want to be like Tina when I grow up, and I want to be like Destiny when I grow up. You know what I mean? Because, like, you guys are just, you're just powerful women, and I love you guys. And yeah, I'm super, super humble and grateful that you even were, like, girl, I did a relaunch. Come get on this.
No, and that's the thing is, like, I remember, like, who was there for me, like, when I needed it the most, you know? And, like, you're my people, and I will always stand on that. Like, listen, when I love my people, I love them with my whole chest.
Yes.
But no, and I think, like, the reason that I have so much more confidence and, like, willingness to, like, do the relaunch and all that is because I have support from, like, my friends, and I have support from my husband, and, like, it's been good. It's been a good little journey here, and I'm excited to see, like, where it goes and stuff. Like I said, what is this? This is going to be episode 5, I think.
5?
So if we make it past episode 6, we're on a roll.
Yes, you can do it.
I've been putting in the work, dog. I'm trying real hard. But no, I appreciate you, like, doing this with me.
Yeah,
this
of course.
Anytime.
Anytime.
But I just felt like you always have you and I always have, like, the best conversations together, and I just feel like any knowledge that you have, like, especially with, like, the situationships and dating and stuff like that, is, like, so good for people, because it's, like, especially both of us, because we're old, man. We grown.
No, listen. Until I hit my 40s, I'm young. I'm thriving. 30, flirty, and thriving. I'm about to say throughout my 30s.
But I'm just saying, like, we have so much of that, like, experience, and I feel like it would help, like, people that are younger, and, like, just to see, like, there's so much more than like the small town that you grew up in, and there's so much more than the first guy that you fell in love with. Like, there's so much more out there. You just have to, like, love yourself and let yourself live, and then, like, you'll find it.
Yes.
Reach into the quiet.
You know, but I think I'm gonna have to DoorDash me another tall can, because
dude, this is going down good. Like, I went the other day because I thought I wanted a drink, and it just was not hitting. So I'm like, tall can, and I'm like, hey.
I know. I don't really drink too much these days, so it's just nice.
Weekend in, like, 3 weekends that I didn't go out to the bar. I was just so tired this week, dog. Like, ooh, Pumpkin. Oh, she's drunk. Pumpkin spice season is whooping my ass, dog.
Dude, I've kind of given in. And since it's, like, September, and, like, Oregon has, like, all the seasons, I'm trying to hit all the pumpkin patches. I'm trying to do all the fall girl shit. I'm trying to do all that. Like,
fall girl shit is happening in Oregon.
Yes.
I'm excited to see your pictures on social media.
Yes.
Well,
I'm like,
anything else that you want to leave anybody with? Like, any last minute advice that you want to give to the younger generation?
The younger generation?
Younger generation. Even our generation, dude. We need it. We need it bad.
No, for real. I think just, like, you know, like I was saying, it just kind of full circle it all just, like, know that all of the love that you have to give and you offer to, like, everybody else, you need to give it to yourself. And it's okay to, like, be selfish, because you know, for the longest time, I always based, like, my worth off of what I could do for people rather than just who I was as a person. And so I just think that, you know, like, especially, like, with social media and all that stuff, like, it's almost like people, because it's like, oh, wow, look at so-and-so and look at what they're doing with their life. And, you know, the same thing, because even now, like, with me moving and everything like that, like, just really, you know, it doesn't matter, like, I mean, I'm 28 and I'm back in college, you know, like, and I'm like, oh, if I would have stayed, I would have already graduated. But even then, like, that's not what I wanted at the time. So it's just like, it's never too late. And even like, let's say someone watches like the video right now and then they're like, damn, like I got to get my shit together. Like it's never too late. And you are literally like one choice away from like a totally different life. And you can't, another thing is to like forgive yourself for the past. Don't be ashamed, because I carried a lot of shame for who I was and what I tolerated and just like what I went through in the past. And that really was not good for me. So it's like, you can't change any of it. You just need to embrace it and accept it and just take the lessons and just move forward. And once you do that, like, I feel it, but like, even when other people tell me like, oh, you look so good and you're just happy and I'm happy for you and all those things, like, it's nice, because it's like, again, just the validation of people being like, I see you and I'm proud of you. And, you're not always going to necessarily get it from like the people that you might need it from. But as long as you give it to yourself, yeah, as long as you like give it to yourself and you surround yourself with the people that do value you and appreciate you, like, you're going to be just fine. And then, I mean, of course, I was like, not to like, but you can also like follow my my little journey, because I've been I've been getting a little more like, okay, like, what do I mean, I know that they had talked about like banning TikTok and stuff, but we'll see. It's already September.
Really quick, too, I just want to like go off of what you said about like past mistakes and things like that. Like, for a long time too, I felt like I didn't deserve like a happy, healthy relationship because of past mistakes and because of like how I was in certain relationships. And like, don't let that stick with you, because at the end of the day, like, those relationships weren't meant to be forever. They were just part of your chapter, not meant to be in your whole story. So it's just like, you have to be able to give yourself grace to move on and give yourself love that you do deserve. And it's just like, don't linger in the past. As long as like you're growing and you're learning, like, everything's going to work out the way that it's supposed to work out. So that's how I feel about that.
Yep. And we can speak on it because we're the living proof, and I'm like, I don't know when, I don't know who, and I don't know how, but I have a good feeling that, once you...
Gina's wedding 2028. I'm thinking that right now.
But yeah, it's just like, just put yourself first and all that you do, love yourself first, and it's all just going to come together. And, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and heartbreak if you like give someone the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, sure, go ahead. But once the cycle keeps repeating and the pattern keeps repeating, like, no, you're gonna save yourself a lot of that if you just
people will prove to you who they are the first time. So like, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Mm-hmm. Because it'll get worse. Believe me.
You can change him, honey. No, you can't. Don't waste your time.
First little red flags. The first little red flag.
Do it.
The first.
Red is a pretty color. I understand. She's bright. She's beautiful. But you know what? What's a good color? Green's a good color. She's peaceful. She's calm. We like green flags.
Mm-hmm. It's like, Mita, do you want to stay on the ride and like get nauseous and throw up? Or do you want someone to like go walk around the little attractions, win you a little teddy bear, eat some churros?
Get you some funnel cake.
Take them 90s background type photos shit.
My love language.
Like, the choice is yours. And my thing is too, like,
okay, Jigsaw.
I'm like, I'm an open book, and that's my thing too, because there's certain things that, like, again, like, as far as social media and stuff, that I'm kind of like, okay, like, I'm at a point in my life now where I can openly like talk about it. So that's my thing too, is like, you know, people are more than welcome to like reach out, or if they need like want to know a little bit more, if they have any questions, like I'm your girl.
That's how I feel too.
What happened? Okay,
All
there
right.
you are.
Well, Sheena, is there anything you want to plug in? Do you want to plug in your socials, what you do, who you are, all that good stuff?
I'm currently I'm not a student right now because it's summer, but yeah, I'm a student, computer science. I work from home finally. I was working like 4 jobs there for a second. But yeah, you can follow me on, hold on, I changed my TikTok because my TikTok user, because like things were getting a little weird. But it's it's Arayon. So like my Ayon is my last name. Underscores my TikTok, Chi, if you will. And then I also follow her on, you know, your social media, so you can also find me that way. If you've never been to Oregon and you wanna like see some Oregon content, follow me because I be posting. But yeah, that's pretty much it. My whole thing right now is school and work and the occasional, you know, meet up, see where things are going. Living my life.
Online dating scene.
Yes. I'm like, as we speak, I got like five notifications.
Try to schedule some dates. Can we wrap it up, please?
Yeah, I've already had like one. So yeah, just, you know, the sky's the limit. Clearly I got options. But yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, that is all the tea for this episode. Remember to like and subscribe, and we are available now on any platform that you can listen to podcasts. Plus, the video version is available on YouTube. But yeah, that's all the tea for this episode. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Dude, I have to pee so bad.
I know, me too.